Thank you guys for coming this evening. Some of you know a little bit about it. I am doing a research project for one of my classes, and I've been working with a few people on a project that I hope will have a very positive impact on your jobs and ultimately on the parents that are here, on your children. I want to introduce to you Brandy. This is Brandy Cockerham. I know most of you know that her child has been with us for the past 3 years, but she is also on our board as one of our parent advisories. In the back there is a board member, Arlen Wave. Hello. Arlen. He's got his head.
Arlen.
You with us?
Over here.
Anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we did. As we are beginning to work on our second center and expanding the program, we've been doing a lot of talking about things that are issues for the daycare, things that we need to improve on, weak areas, so to speak. I personally think we have the greatest center around, and I know we have the best teachers. Y'all are fantastic. You do a wonderful job. But the thing that we're looking for is ways to make your job better. We took 2 different centers, and Miss Carla couldn't be with us today, but we had partnered with a center in Ward that she's not a Better Beginnings Center yet, but they're working towards becoming one, and she'd asked for our help. So I thought this was a good opportunity for her as well to see some areas within her program that she needed help on. The teachers, all those of you that don't know, completed a survey that answered questions on the basic areas of the business. And they did it here, and they also did it at Sister Karen Ward. It just kind of gave us a baseline of things that they felt like were issues. When we first started, we met and discussed a lot of the different things that could be done to improve. And the thing that kept coming up was staff turnover. While you guys have been faithful and you've been here and we have a very strong, solid team and our leaders, the support staff is weak. I don't know if it's because those are part-time positions or tend to be filled with young college students. They tend to have a lot of turnover. Average, just short periods of time. Nobody really stays any length of time in that position. And turnover is hard on kids. So we were trying to figure out what it is that we're doing wrong that might encourage those younger girls, or not always younger girls, but the support staff to stay with us for longer periods of time. The purpose of the research was to investigate why the teachers were leaving. The average teacher leaves this industry within 5 years. We have been open here at this location for 4.5 years now, and have been fortunate that all of our lead teachers have stayed with us. But what is it that's causing them to leave? We wanted to interview those areas that we talked about, and we came up with these 3 different areas. Poor compensation. Childcare, sadly, is one of the lowest paid industries that's out there. It's a minimum wage job. It's hard for these girls to support their families, which even if they love the job and they love what they're doing, they tend to have to find other places because they can't afford to make ends meet in their homes. The other thing that came up in the survey was that there's inadequate training period, and they feel like when they come into the jobs that they're just kind of thrown into the classrooms, and that's usually the case. If you lose a teacher, we have to maintain state regulations, so we have to have somebody in that room in order for that classroom to be open, and a lot of times it means pulling somebody in that has very little training and they're just not ready for the responsibility. It makes them start off on the wrong foot right away. They're lost my train of thought. Right away they are overwhelmed with what they're doing. Because there's a lot of rules and regulations. There's a book that they have to learn. They have to learn proper procedures, not just for state licensing, but also for Better Beginnings. And when they're thrown into these classrooms, they're kind of thrown to the wolves and expected to know what to do. And a lot of times they don't. And it just sets a bad foundation for them to grow on. The other thing that came up was an inability to connect with other team members. And I think that that is, a big issue because our core teachers, all of the lead staff have been here so long, and it's a family. They're very close-knit, and so it's harder for new people to come in and to connect with that core. And that makes them feel inadequate as well. They feel like they're not as important. They feel like what they do isn't valued. They're usually not here all day. So they're part-time staff, and so their responsibility is limited. They don't get to have a say in curriculum planning and activities that we do. All of that stuff has always been determined by our lead teachers. And so that has contributed to the fact that they don't feel like they're a vital part of our team. We use different research methods, and the main one that I talked about was the questionnaire. I'm going to share with you that here in just a minute. The questionnaire was divided into the 6 main categories with questions for them to answer on how satisfied they were. And then we took an average score to kind of come up with those top 3 problems that we talked about. We asked them how long that they had been in early childhood education and the current amount of time that they had been here, because some of our teachers have been with other places before they came to us. They told us what their current position was and the years that they also had in their current position. The first topic that we talked about was job responsibilities. Do they know what's expected of them? Do they feel free to make choices? Are their duties clearly explained? Is the workload fairly easy to handle? The orientation and training, and this was one of our big issues here. Did they receive ample training time before being left to my duties? I was really shocked to find that almost every single person that completed the survey stated that they didn't feel like they were properly trained before they entered their classrooms. How confident are they with their job? Do they understand the company's goals and missions? The next one was the management. Do they feel that their management is available to them? If they need something, is the supervisors there to take care of their needs? And that's a big issue. If you don't feel like you have somebody that's there for you, then you, again, contributes to them feeling like they were kind of left out to the wolves. Compensation, big thing. It doesn't matter how much, like we said before, it doesn't matter how much you love your job. If you're not paid enough to support your family, you're going to have to go somewhere else. The work environment plays into it as well, and that's where, are your supplies that you have there? Do you have enough personal space for you? Are your basic needs on the job met? And then the last one was coworkers. How well do you get along with your staff? Do you feel that your workload is evenly split? Those type of questions were asked to determine, what kind of connection these employees are making as a team. And again, this was where our third problem area came from. And then we asked at the end if they saw themselves in this position in 1 year, or if they saw themselves in this position in 5 years. And many of them said that they didn't. The only ones that really stated that they saw themselves here in 5 years are the ones that already have, established their families, and usually there's a second parent in the home that's bringing in, a substantial amount of income to where the income isn't so much a factor. Those are the ones that said that they planned on staying with us. This is a breakdown here. It shows you Center A is our center and Center B is the other, and then their combined totals. The score, they could get 50 points possible on each of these. And as you can see, compensation was the lowest at both centers with 24. That's less than half of the people satisfied with their compensation. Another low one was in the training and orientation, 32. That's just a little bit over half. Those are the main areas that we want to focus on. This was another interesting find for us, was the difference in the lead staff and the support staff. And when we found this, this is where we decided we were going to really focus on ways that we could pull the team together, where if there's not a division, where the support staff feels like they're equally as important. Because as you can see, every single category for the support staff was lower than it was for the lead staff. There's a huge need for change, and our goal was to sit down and come up with these problems and then discuss as a group with the teachers, you know, things that they thought we could do. We came up with a lot of different solutions. Obviously, pay raises are going to have to, you know, be something that involves a budget evaluation and trying to come up with ways that the company can raise the pay more frequently than we do. But that's, you know, that's tough. Again, it's a low-end job, and it shouldn't be, because to me, this is the most important job that's out there. There's not a job that's available today that I feel like is more important than what we do right here, because we are raising our doctors of tomorrow. You know, everything that's poured into them in the first 5 years of their life determines the kind of person that they're going to become. And if they aren't getting a solid, stable foundation now, it has lifetime effects on them. And teacher turnover plays into that, because kids need consistency. So how can we make our teachers stick and stay? And these were some of the things that they had mentioned. Ways to kind of offset. One of the things was that we have 10 holidays where the center is closed, and these are contract holidays where the parents still have to pay even though the place is closed, but our staff has never gotten paid for these. That would be an easy solution to where they're making up, they don't have to worry about those weeks, because that one missed day, or some holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, they miss 2 days, that's a big chunk out of their monthly income, and it causes hardships on their families. But if those 10 days out of the year were eliminated and they received holiday pay, then that would help raise their compensation levels, they said. Another option was to have personal days that they could build, and they suggested a lot of teachers will come up like on the weekends and organize their classrooms or work on, you know, activities and parties that are coming up or things like that. And they asked if we could come up with some kind of point system where they earned points for the time that they spent outside of their hours, because we all know that teachers work. Just because they clock out and go home at 5 o'clock, they're working on curriculum, they're planning activities, they're shopping to pick up things they need for their supplies. A teacher's job never ends. And they said, could there be a way that they could accumulate points to where they have a personal day that they've added, to where if a child is sick, their own child, and they need to take the day off, then they're not losing pay for that. So that's something else that we're going to look at. And then the last thing was the team building events. They wanted to do more things that would help unite the team as a whole, where it's not this group of teachers and this group of teachers, where everybody's working together, where the support staff, even though they're only there part of the day, they still want to feel like they're involved in the planning. So we talked about maybe having monthly meetings where the teams could get together and you have like a workshop with your pre-K teachers and a workshop with your infant toddler teachers, where they could plan the curriculum together, where they all have an equal say in what's going on. And then to just plan activities to where these new people can get to know the core outside of the demands of the classroom every day. So we talked about having monthly meetings and parties where we stayed away from work-related topics, and it was just team-building exercises. So we're gonna work that into our plan. All of the solutions that we came up with were very feasible, things that we could do, and the cost effects of it were low. So I feel confident that these changes are going to be things that we're able to accomplish. We have a goal of a drafting phase through March and June, where we're going to sit down with Brandy and our other board members to review our daycare policies in our employee handbook, to see the different things that we could change before the new school year begins, with a goal of implementing these changes in August at the new school year. And then we'll review them again next August to see if the changes had any kind of effect, and if these are changes that need to stick, or if they're changes that might need revising again. This was a very personal project for me, and it's probably the first thing that I've done in my few years of college that really, really had an impact on me, because it was personal. And I love the fact that I could take this assignment and turn it into something that's going to have a positive impact on you guys as teachers and parents, and on the children in our program, because everything is about improving our programs. So I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate Randy working with me and working with my advisor over this semester to get this project underway, and I look forward to see results from it. Do you guys have any questions about anything? Nobody? Okay, well, if that's all I have, and I appreciate you coming.